right now with a talk by our gold partners, data masters. Filip Petrovski, the co-founder and CEO, will be talking to us about the real-world strategy to create business impact by maximizing data usability. Filip, you can start.
Thank you. One month ago, when I was preparing my presentation for this talk, inspired for data usability, I wanted to use, and I prepared some slides with the quote, "The value of idea lies in the use of it," which is said by Thomas Edison. But then they told me that I'm going to speak in Nikola Tesla's room, so I decided to be politically correct and I removed the slides. So you will feel some jump at the beginning from what I want to say, but basically I would guess that everyone would agree that data usability is becoming the topic now. Technology is going so fast, it's advancing so fast, and the usability of data becomes slowly a challenge. We as professionals in Southeast Europe have a huge opportunity on one hand because the market is not advanced enough like the rest of Europe, but on the other hand we have a huge responsibility. And this responsibility brings the question, how can we help the companies to grow in the terms of data analytical maturity, data strategy, etc.? Should we go with the baby steps and go with all the steps that Europe has already done, or the more advanced companies has already done, or we have to make the giant leaps and jump 20 years of development and lessons learned and try to implement by the currently best practices? And the biggest challenge here is that in Europe, comparing to what we are doing in 95% of the companies here, they had time in the past 20 years to go step by step with the technology and solve each data questions, or all the data challenges. But now we have to focus on the data platform, we have to focus on self-service analytics, we have to talk about democratizing data, we have to talk about AI and governance and everything in the same time. One of the speakers before mentioned everyone is talking about AI and most of the companies are having only basic BI. So how to help this? How to change this? And the reality that I'm seeing is basically that even though we talk about AI, most of the companies are living in Excel hell at the moment. And that was mentioned in one of the talks earlier today, which was the Excel hell was paved actually with a good intention, right? Even the data warehouses that were implemented 6-10 years ago are still by Cognos Analytics or by this tool, that tool, delivering Excels. And when we talk about usability of data, that means advanced Excel skills in the era of Power BI and Tableau and all the possibilities that the current top 5 tools are bringing to us. So coming back to the challenge and what I'm seeing and what we are seeing on the market, and what I wanted to achieve with this call is to share an experience. And that's why the talk itself is called Real World Strategy, because this is something that worked already in Southeast Europe. The biggest challenge that we are having in the companies starts from the technical side. We have question-based analytics called reports, right? Or maybe even some dashboards if this is advanced. We have limited opportunity for ad hoc analytics. We have lack of documentation. Only some IT people know the solution. On the other hand, we have the human challenges that in case we automate everything and we achieve self-service analytics, what will those guys that are doing VLOOKUPs and preparing data will do in their daily work? What will be the change? How this will impact us? Those are all the big challenges that we are having. And that the last ones are coming from the people, not even technical. And even though this conference is purely technical, we have to take the human aspect as well. What we are seeing in companies, especially in Southeast Europe, is that 90% of the time, the data is spent on data preparation for some report, for top management, for the management report that is needed in the company. And 10% is the analysis, or just some checks if we have the correct data or not. Technically, we are spending, and I had a friend which was saying, our market is still cheap enough so we can have Excel army, but it's not cheap anymore. It's growing, right? We have inflation, we have everything. It's not that easy anymore. So, and it's not the right thing at the end of the day because the competition, the globalization, it's far ahead. So, what would be the goal? The goal would be to focus on 10% data preparation, 40% or 50% data analysis, and new use cases. I have seen, or we have seen, probably you will recognize some cases where there are people saying, I'm using this report, or in this report I'm looking these 3-4 columns, and I'm reporting those columns in that report to the headquarters. Are the numbers correct? They probably are correct because we are using them for 20 years. So is this the right thing? Probably you will all say no. It's not how it should be. We should focus on analysis. We should focus on identifying the true reason for what was business intelligence in the past. Understanding our business, not being driven by the systems that we are having. We should drive the systems that we have, and we should drive the processes, and we should improve the processes. But at the end of the day, no matter the technology, data is being used by the people in the organization, the people that are driving the business. What we have seen over the years I'm coming from Macedonia, so what we are seeing in Macedonia is that the most advanced departments are the regulatory departments, the risk department, the actuaries, the people that are producing data for the regulator. But the people that are making money in the company are not as advanced as the other ones. They are relying on Excel and relying on IT or some data team, depending on the organization, to get the right data. And they are real Excel gurus when it comes to analysis of data. So the main question, what we should do, not from technological perspective, but from all the other non-technological perspective in this kind of changes, how to onboard the people. Many times we are hearing, oh, business doesn't know what they want. We are IT and business is always wrong. No, there is a problem that we have to solve. And that problem is we have some strategy that we are going to share and that worked in the past. What is the strategy, basically? The strategy is what we say the secret sauce is a combination of many aspects. One of the aspects, the only one technical aspect that I will share here, it's data modeling. If we have a data warehouse or data lake that is not understood by the business, we cannot expect that the business will be autonomous in using the data and that the business will understand where the data is, no matter how many or what kind of data catalog we have, how easy the lineage is defined, etc. So one thing is the discovery layer and how we organize the data for the business. Second thing is including the business in this kind of processes and involving them in the process of change, because we always say, take the business and make them part of the solution and not part of the problem, because they are always part of the problem. But if we make them part of the solution, that will be different. Here we should talk about data literacy. And is the current way of training people within the organization the right way? And I will discuss about that a bit later. We are talking here about tactical planning, not strategy. The strategy, we know where we have to go. But the right first steps are very important. There are many strategies, but not all of them have seen the light of the day, because the tactical planning and the roadmaps were wrong, the approach was wrong. I was talking yesterday to one ex-manager here that said, I have witnessed a project that failed on the day one. I'm not going to share the details, but basically if we do the wrong steps in one strategy, no matter how good the strategy is, it will fail. So we have to think of the tactical way how we are going to implement everything and how we are going to prioritize the goals and the steps that we have to do. And the main steps here, the first step comes with the assessment. Obviously, right? We have to understand what is happening. Basically, the assessment part comes with the people, processes, and technology. How currently, I was having an argue with one consultant 2 weeks ago that said, the right assessment and gap analysis means having interviews with the business. But then when you start working, you see that the interviews were not good. And are the interviews the issue? No. Should we skip the interviews? No. We should basically look under the hood and understand how things work currently. And then we have to understand what are the solutions, what are the processes, and how the people work at the moment. We have to understand their fears, we have to understand how they work and how they reason and what are their main challenges now. Because they will be part of the solution if their problem is solved. Not only if the company's problem is solved, but if their current problems are being solved as well. The second thing, not related to the people, is the prioritization. We always have to work and understand what are the first steps and try to do quick wins. There cannot be a project in which we let the company or the people wait 2 years for the results to happen. No. We have to show quick wins, we have to show results in 3 to 6 months. We have to see constant delivery, because that's the way how we are going to achieve visibility in the company, on the project. So that's why the low complexity and high urgency tasks are the first ones, obviously, if they're connected with the strategy, and they should be if the urgency is high. Then we go with the more complex, and then we reevaluate the lower urgency types of tasks. When it comes to people, this is the hardest part. We can say, you are the data officer now, you are the data steward, you are the data this, you are data responsible, right? But instead of putting a hat on the people, we have to help them understand why there is a need for data steward, why is a need for data owner, what is the right, is the owner a policeman in the company talking to everyone, you shouldn't do this, that your data quality is wrong or is bad? No, we have to create the culture. And we have to create the people that will drive the change at the end of the day. How we are doing that? Assisted adoption. Adoption is clear, right? But I'll try to explain assisted adoption. Involving the people in the projects, in the change, has proven to be very, very effective. What do I mean by this? When we create that discovery layer, we don't let the people to feel that they have a new solution that they have to understand. No, we involve them in the design. We involve them in the definition and in the analysis. So at the end of the day, they are fighting with the other departments in the organization saying, no, this is my solution. So how we are doing that? Analysis, design, and at the end, training. It's all done with the business users. Yeah, the development team and IT will do the implementation. That's not part of of the talk here, of the technical part. But everything else, the business should be involved. And they have to feel the ownership of the solution and ownership of the change. It's not only one solution there, it's the whole process of it. Then we can talk about organization, whether it should be centralized or decentralized, or how we should organize the data, how we should organize the people. And we are saying the following. The people that we call data champions, or the people that are helping the business get the data that they want, should not live with IT. We always have a pushback from IT here. But it's not about the control. It's about having people in the company that are masters in their skill, that know how to extract data, how to prepare something, how to analyze the data, how to find new patterns, that are living with the business. If they feel the challenges that sales is having when they are pushing for a target, the first time, the second time, they will be proactive. The third time, they will be part of the team. Even though they are not selling, they will guide the sales teams. So, yeah, in the central, we can have AI, BI, however we call it, data department, which is handling the processes, the data warehouse, the data lake, and everything. But the main part, the people that are the bridge between IT and business now, the experts, the data masters should be in the business teams. And we have to build those people. Sometimes we have a question, should I have these people? Should I bring these people from IT or should I have them from the business? The ideal is a mix. Because if you have a person that is not the best salesman, but it's the very good with data and very good analyst and very good person in Excel at the moment, perfect candidate for the person that will be data champion in sales. It shouldn't be, because now if it's perfect in sales, we have to balance between, do we want revenue or we want analytics? So we have to find the balance between. One more thing we have is the data literacy program. The data literacy program is a way how we create this culture, how we train the people. I have been talking to many companies recently, and they said, yes, we send the people to Power BI. We have 300 certificates within the company in Power BI. And how many users? We are starting now. 300 certificates, and we are starting now. First thing, if the people are learning something that they don't do, the knowledge is lost. I'm sorry, but it's thrown money. Maybe some KPI in HR, but we didn't do much. That's the first thing. The second thing we hear is, yeah, you know, we have learned Power BI, but we worked on logistics data. And I'm talking with a bank. So how can a person that works in a bank can connect the dots and can understand the reality if they work on a data, on a use case, and challenges, and does homeworks in totally different type of business? At the end of the day, what we have to do in this data literacy program is focus on several aspects. The people should understand first how the process of using Power BI, I'll take Power BI as an example, how the process is being designed in the organization. Who should I call for deployment? Who should I call for making this up and running? How can I share this to my colleagues? How can I work with the others? How can I check the catalog? Where is the catalog? Who is responsible for that, etc.? What are the responsibilities on the business side? What are the responsibilities on the IT side? They should understand the model behind, and they should have a true tools, catalog or whatever, for understanding where they can find the data that they need. And most importantly, they have to learn on their use cases, their challenges, and their reality. because we are not teaching future Power BI developers. We are teaching business people that should leverage Power BI for their daily work. Same like they are currently using Excel to analyze data. So we have to bring the context to the people so they don't need to adopt the knowledge afterwards. But the day after the training, they just continue doing what they are doing. If they have one example done throughout the training, they can continue doing, yes, with help. It's not ideal. They're not going to be pro users at the beginning, but they will start. They'll have the context. And this is very important. And finally, it all comes to the timeline. This is good, that is good, yes, we have to do a lot of things, but at the end of the day, the main question is how fast we can implement a strategy like this. And how fast we can drive this process. There is no clear answer on this, because it does not here the main thing that we are doing is not implementing a tool that needs 60 days to be in production. We are passing through a process, and we are fighting with the board, with the funding, with the visibility, with the fears of the people, so it's a process. For this process to work, in our case, tactical planning is very important. That's why we focus on assessment, core questions, goals, and priority matrix, what I have shown you before, and that is valid for no more than a year. We have to come back. But in that year, we focus 1 to 2 months to have something new, something in production, something that the management will look at and say, aha, I am seeing why I'm investing money. Because there was 2017 one number which said 85% of all BI projects has failed over the years, because BI is not a tool and it's not plug and play, it's a process. What we have to do is make 20 years jump with minimum risk of failure. That's why we have to work with the quick wins. That's why we have to plan, and that's why we have to keep the people involved and keep them and bring them back to the big picture and the idea of what we are doing, because if they get stuck with a certain use case, certain challenge, something that is a challenge to the process, the fear and the pressure will create doubts. So that's why reiteration is key. Small trainings, small deliveries, those things are quite important. At the end of the day, what matters is this. We have even AI today. Technology has advanced quite a lot. The business value is a question. At least in this part, in data, we have achieved quite a lot of business value. Business value is there, and just the transformation has to be done. So start your journey as soon as possible, because that's what matters, and that's when it starts counting, when everything starts counting. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Filip, for the presentation. Are there any questions for Filip? Yes, over here. Can we?
Thank you, Filip. It was very interesting. If you are talking about changing approach, in this case, we are talking about strategy. That means that C-level, a kind of whatever it is, C-level, a board or one guy, or but should be included. And currently, depending on the industry, C boards or C guys or C women, they talk about hype, or about things that are hype, either about KPIs. Do you think that we need someone who is aware of data or data champion within C boards or at least in supervisory boards. Otherwise, they will continue with getting things from IT guys, primarily head of IT or IT director or someone similar.
We have more and more chief data officers in the region, which is good. And basically, if we don't talk about the CIO, if we talk about CDO, at least the CDO should be project sponsor in this kind of change. What is the biggest risk or the biggest issue in this kind of challenges is that it all depends who signs the strategy. And that's why I didn't focus on the strategy, because the big four will come and create a strategy immediately and they'll say, okay, this is the strategy, this is where you should go. But how to convert that from a PowerPoint to a real value, it's a huge challenge. And that's why at the end of the day, at least some person doesn't need to be in the board, but at least the second level below the board should believe in the process. We had case back in 2023 when the person that was below the board lost fear, had a fear in how the project will go, and we had a 3 months freeze in the project because we didn't know if this is the real thing that we are doing. We needed time to come back and finish the project. So basically, I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but we cannot expect that the C-level will change the mindset and start saying, no, let's forget the hype, let's do the things here, because they're bombarded by the hype all the time. And that's the C-level. They should look 10 years ahead, where the company should go. But the people within the company, data warehouse, AI, data management team, data officers, they should be the ones guiding the people and be the gatekeeper on this kind of projects. Because IT as IT will have maybe another model to manage another server, another 200 licenses, 500 licenses, etc. However, the value that we are having at the end is seen and acknowledged at least by someone who does something in the data. Or we had a case in which the business was seeing the value and the IT was not seeing the value. At least that, then we'll have a pass we'll have a support in the board. We had projects in the past where the IT was not supporting, because for them that was just another thing. But the business and the commercial person was supporting it, and now the project is up and running, and IT got on board it in the second phase because they saw the value. Doesn't need to be through IT, it can be through business as well. But someone has to approve, because at the end of the day it's budget and it's a way how things work.
Thank you for your question. I think we have one more behind. Okay, first him, and then we have another one, although I'm not sure if we'll have time.
Yeah, so the question from... Yeah, sorry. So thank you for your presentation, and the question from my side will be like, what's the best way from your point of view to sell like the data maturity tool to the business? Because usually it's really hard because business can't see really value from that. Because when you're saying something like data catalog will help developers to make tools faster, they can't see really impact on the business from that side. And it's really hard to sell for the business the data catalog and tools like that.
We sell self-service. And with the self-service comes the question on how I'm going to see where the data is. Here is the data catalog. If we talk about data catalog, that's IT/data department. If we talk about the actual value for the business, that's autonomy. And that autonomy will bring the question of the catalog.
Yeah, one more, and that's it. We'll have to continue.
Thank you for the interesting talk. My question is about cases where the business is indeed in Excel hell and all sorts of ETL and visualization hell, they need the IT to build the actual reports that run properly. The problem is IT does not go as fast. How do you deal with the situation where the business keeps moving the goalpost because they keep developing and then the IT cannot keep up?
That's the decentralization I was talking about. If we have a proper discovery layer, means in the data lake terms, the proper gold layer that is Kimball, can reflect on the business, business, etc. And if we have the people which are autonomous enough within the business, then the business does not rely on 95% of the questions to IT. IT, the hardest thing is on the last week I was having a roundtable in which one company said, we have our best data scientists working on producing the best possible dashboards to the business and we are doing good. And I asked them, okay, the data scientists should focus on Gen AI and the new things or developing dashboards. Well, it makes sense. So we don't need to keep the development. The IT should focus on the growth. This is operational thing, improvement of business, improvement of analysis, improvement of KPIs within the organization. The best builders in the company, the specialists, should focus on the hype, on the new technology, on the next steps. When this starts running, the business should be autonomous, because if IT is stuck with business, business is stuck with IT, but also IT is stuck with business, because they cannot do what they should do. They should grow, or they should serve the business and some important data that is just now, today, needed for them to report to the central bank, let's say. That's the main difference. So that's why we say, put the data, the bridges, the champions, we call them data masters. Bring them and let them live with the business. They are not real IT. They have all the technical skills, but they're not IT.
Okay, thank you for your question, and thank you, Filip, for the amazing talk. We have something for you.
Thank you.
And yeah, big round of applause, please. So that was Filip, the CEO of Data Masters. You can visit their booth down at the Expo Zone. So we urge you to do that as well, and maybe talk to them more if this topic interests you.
Thank you.